For a long time, my life was a blur. I was just kind of moving along, doing the things adults should do until I got stopped suddenly in my tracks. I am Vivian. I was born into an average middle class family in the 80s when the most important thing parents hammered on was going to school. I had a few hobbies, but I never pursued any of them as such. I would pick up a craft idea, practice it for a while, and then my interest would fizzle off. I was not particularly exceptional in my academic performance either. I am the fourth of 6 children. My mom was a civil servant, and my father was an accountant who worked with a private organization. I went to a boarding secondary school and did not do much there. It was a large school and it was easy to fade into the crowd, which was what I did. I had my group of friends, but even among them, I was the quiet one. I went on to study economics in the university and I graduated with a second class lower. I joined one of the new generation banks after my youth service through their recruitment drive, and that was how I started my career in banking. I never thought about whether I enjoyed it or not. It paid my bills and I did my best. I wasn't really driven, but I worked hard and slowly grew through the ranks to become a senior banking officer. I got married to a guy I met during my youth service. He studied petroleum engineering and got a job in an oil company. It was an offshore job, so he was away on the rig for 2 weeks, followed by a 2-week break. We got married 2 years after I started work because of a rule that did not allow us get pregnant for the first 2 years on the job. I got pregnant immediately after our wedding and had another baby 3 years later, and then I was done. I had no particular plan for my life apart from being in a job that paid well and growing in it. And I got that in my bank job until there was a wave of downsizing exercises in the industry and I got laid off my job after working there for 8 years. It was a rude awakening for me. I was not expecting it and I did not know what to do. I cried for about a week because I felt it was unjust, but more because I felt lost. I was 34 and I had no skills, no hobbies I could monetize, no experience outside the banking sector, and the banks were not hiring at that time. Even if they were, it was not likely that I would get another job if they learnt I had been laid off my old job. Thankfully, my husband was around when it happened and he tried to console me and encourage me. From his perspective, he said perhaps it was time for me to pull away from paid employment and find something I could do on my own. I found the idea laughable because I did not even know where to start from. My work defined me and I had always seen myself retiring as a banker. Now, that had been stripped away. One day, about 4 months after losing my job, a friend came to visit and she invited me for a seminar being organized by the business group of her church. I had nothing to do, so I went with her. The guest speaker was a popular life coach and he was speaking about purpose and leadership. I had never heard any talk on purpose or self-leadership before that, and I was intrigued by the things the coach was saying. We were given details of how to contact him to sign up for a session with him, and a few days after the seminar, I paid and signed up for a 1-hour session. I got a date 2 weeks away, and I could barely wait. In the meantime, I went online and started searching for some of his videos, and the more I listened to him, the more excited I was. I had been introduced to a side of life I had never known existed. When I eventually had my call with him, it was life-changing. I began to see myself in a new light after thinking through some of the questions he asked me. I knew I needed more time. He said he had a 12-week coaching program coming up. It was quite expensive, but I made up my mind to sign up. One thing I had always been was very prudent with money. And during my time in the bank, I took advantage of the investment tools. And so I had quite a bit of money saved up. I told my husband about the coaching program, and even though he didn't fully understand what it was about, he encouraged me to go for it because he saw the light it brought to my face. The 12 weeks altered the course of my life forever. I realized that I had a bundle of latent skills, and by the time I drilled down to my purpose, I also realized that I probably enjoyed banking so much because it gave me a platform to interact with people in an environment that protected their financial resources, which was something I had a lot of interest in. Without realizing it, I had learned so much about financial and investment tools, which was an area where I could help many people. My coach showed us how to package our knowledge and set up a business around it. I started, and slowly I began to get clients who needed advice on investment opportunities and financial management. At first, I offered only advisory services, but with time, people began to ask for me to just help them set up investments and manage their financial portfolios. So after a while, I had to get regulatory approval for my business to do that. I have run that business for 14 years now, and it has been an unbelievable journey. For me, the most important part has been the self-discovery and unveiling of my purpose. The money I am making is icing on the cake. It didn't feel like it at the time it happened, but I think losing my job was the exact push I needed to bring meaning to my life. Have you been on a journey of self-discovery or purpose? Please share in the comments below. Remember to subscribe to my channel and to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos.